It's me, Cappy. My mommy is the best. Superman will be next. She helps mommy. It looks Miles back. Your dick goes back. And his back go back. You wait for the straw. Brush. Get ready for Pet Super Scrubby. Pet Super Scrub.
Welcome to my Global Healing for the Soul podcast, sponsored by myself, Robin Stoltman. As I am America's #1 fertility and parenting mindset expert, a transformational resilience speaker, coach and trainer for businesses and individuals. I'm also an author and a supermom of 11 biological children, soon to be having 8 C-sections in a row after overcoming infertility using my own fertility mindset revolution program I created, with this being season number 6, episode number 28, where every week I feature different guests to help empower you to become the best version of yourself through different methods you may not have heard of or even thought of. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Healing for the Soul podcast and keep coming back for more. Now today, I have my guest, Nathan Turner, who is an experienced mortgage note investor and the founder of Ernest Investing, where he helps investors achieve passive income through the power of note investing. With years of experience in real estate space, Nathan transitioned from a real estate ownership to specializing in mortgage notes, using his expertise to help investors diversify their portfolios and earn steady cash flow. In addition to his work with Ernest Investing, Nathan runs the Diversified Mortgage Expo, an annual conference that brings together experts in the note investing and seller financing space. His mission is to build lasting relationships and provide educational opportunities for investors at every level. Thank you so much, Nathan, for being here with our audience.
I am so pleased to be here. Thank you.
So, one of the questions that I have right off the bat is, should a person diversify their financial portfolio, or can you tell us more about that?
It's a good idea. If you don't have to, if you want to just invest in one thing and one thing only, that's great. I would suggest, expanding out and making sure you're investing in different things, because what if something happens over in this direction and something happens in that direction? You want to make sure that you're protected no matter what happens.
Awesome. So I would agree with you. Is that similar to I know for us business owners, we're typically told you got to have more than one stream of income. But
Right.
they're like, you got to do one stream, get that going, and then do the next one. At the same time, it's kind of hard to do that these days, and just focus on one,
Right.
get that going, and then, because how the finances tend to work.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing with this, is we're trying to take away all of any extra time that you don't have. That's what we're trying to give back to you, is have it. Let me do it for you so that you don't have to try to get it up and running and organized and systemized and all those things. That's all done. Let me go ahead and do that for you.
No, I like that, because it takes one less thing off the plate to do this, especially,
Right.
As parents. And then can you give us a quick overview of what mortgage note investing is? Because I've never heard of that. And how does that work?
Yeah, it's pretty unique. So if you haven't heard of it, that's fine. I didn't know it existed before I got into it either. So I started about 15 years ago, and what it basically is I'm buying the mortgage attached to the property instead of the property itself. So maybe you've had this before, where maybe on your own home, you got a mortgage from whatever, Bank of America, Chase, whatever, whoever. Sometime down the road, you get a letter saying, hey, by the way, we're no longer servicing your loan. Now it's going to be this other company, this other bank. That's me. So I'm one of those guys that they would sell that loan to. So now I'm going to be the one collecting that instead of your traditional bank, whichever one you started with. Essentially, that's the breakdown.
Oh, okay. So then how does that work then, as far as for the homeowner, or for the... Yeah, I guess that's my only question. How does that work for the homeowner then? When it switches from where it was at to someone else?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I like so much about this, is nothing changes for the homeowner except where you're sending your check. That's it. So you were sending it to this address for these guys over in that direction. Now you're sending it to me over in this direction over here. All the terms, everything else stays exactly the same. It's just a matter of where you're sending the check.
Oh, that's good to know. Because that's what I was kind of like I said, I was wondering, like, how does that work to invest in that? But no, that
Yeah.
makes sense when you explained it more, that you're not doing anything with the loan differently. It's just where you're
Right.
paying your bills to. So then what
Yeah.
inspired you to transition from the real estate ownership to mortgage note investing?
Yeah. I initially really it was just an opportunity thing. I recognized it in the very beginning. It was actually a way for me to acquire property. So I got started in like 2010, 2009, 2010. And initially I was looking for mortgages on vacant properties in Columbus, Ohio. Like that was all the criteria I was looking for. And the idea was I wanted to take over the property so that I could then fix it up and sell it. Ideally, actually, I was going to sell it on terms, create a new note for somebody in there. All of that was great, except it's a lot of work. And so I've done all of that. I've done all kinds of different iterations of the same kind of business. Today, what I'm doing is a more streamlined, more simplified. So today I'm just buying performing loans. So the person in the house, they're making regular payments. Whoever owns the loan, whether it's a bank or an individual, they decide that they want the lump sum of cash today instead of those payments over time. And I'm looking for the opposite. I'm looking for those payments over time. So really that's it. It's just trying to be simple, less complicated. That's my new mantra.
No, I like that because, yeah, it can get very complicated in that, because I'm just thinking like there's a lot that goes. I think they call it house flipping, don't they? When you buy something
Mhm.
cheaper and then you fix it, and to me that's
Yeah.
just too much work when I'm
I've done
thinking
that,
about
and
it.
it is. It is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot, swinging hammers. You open up a wall, and you're like, "Oh shoot! Now I got to fix this too." And unexpected time, unexpected expenses, all those things. This is just a much more simplified version.
I like that idea. Anything simple makes it a lot easier.
Yes. Yeah.
That is for sure. That's why I'm like, yeah, you want to have things easier in life, not harder. You don't want to make things
Yeah.
harder than what they have to be. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So then, like, what would be the key benefits to this mortgage investing, this mortgage note investing compared to the traditional real estate investing? Because it almost sounds like one of the benefits that you've gotten out of is it's a more simplified, streamlined process, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there are pros and cons for sure. To me, the pros outweigh the cons. So compared to like traditional real estate investing, let's say you buy a property, you rent it out, and then now the person in the house is making they're the tenants, they're making their rental payments. Great. The issue that I have had with that in the past is turnover on your occupants tends to be high relatively, where somebody's like, oh, well, something changed in their life or whatever. Now they want to move out, and now I've got to find somebody new and do all that arranging. So at the very least, it's an interruption to the income that I was getting off of that. Besides that, that property is mine. So every time I'm collecting payments from whoever's living there, I have to set aside a certain amount for repairs, any kind of maintenance that's going to come up. So a new roof at some point, a new toilets because that happens, and flooring and painting and all those things that happen with a house that upkeep needs to be done. The difference with the mortgages is because I'm acting in the role of the bank, banks don't do any of that stuff. Banks don't fix your roof. Banks don't fix the toilet. Banks don't paint the walls. That's just not what banks do. So I get all the same kind of income, the monthly income, without any of the maintenance. I want to be a little careful because I don't want to make it sound like there's zero work involved. Like there's definitely work involved, but a lot of those kind of things that come with owning the property now are off my plate. So now I'm just dealing with the homeowner. They're making their payments. It's a far simpler setup.
I'm trying to think how that works. Like that's why I'm like, it makes sense, but it almost sounds like the real estate part, like you were doing more of for like the traditional real estate investing, like that was more like you're renting to somebody versus a homeowner that buys it. Did I understand?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, essentially. So it's real estate related because obviously the house is the backup, it's the collateral for the loan.
Yep.
but really I'm dealing with the finances. So it's real estate related. Like anytime I'm filling out a form or something like that and ask for an occupation, I really struggle with that because, well, I don't, it's not really real estate. It's kind of real estate. That's usually what I click because that's what the options are, but it's not exactly real estate. It's real estate adjacent. It's, related to real estate, but really I'm dealing with finances.
No, I like that because that helps because that's what I said. Like, I understand like the renting part, how that can go wrong.
Hmm.
I've seen well, we've all seen plenty of cases where people are not the nicest or the cleanest
Right.
in how they live. So then they trash something that looks wonderful and they
Yeah.
don't care. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing that happened. So that's what I was like, is that kind of like what you're talking about for like the real estate part of it? Because like you said about the toilets and Lord knows I got kids, the plumber.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we paid for half the plumber's equipment already. I'm just saying.
They flush something. Why would you flush that? I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That's why I'm like, I think we paid for that part. But like when you
Right.
mentioned that and then you mentioned like the roofing and stuff, that's I'm like, is it more like the real estate investing in having rentals versus, you know, the houses, you're somebody else is buying the house and it's their responsibility. That's why that's why I was asking
Yeah.
to just double check because it's like there's so many different types of ways to invest.
Yeah.
That's why when this mortgage note investing, I'm like, well, if a person wants to be a passive investor to get involved in this note investing, what's the best way that a person can start, or is that even possible to do something like this?
It's definitely possible. So there's a couple of different ways. If you want to do it on your own, you can absolutely do that. I would highly, highly, highly recommend getting some kind of education, and that's not a pitch because I don't teach. But if you want to learn the business, there's lots to learn. So I can refer you to somebody who's willing to teach you how to do it. But that's not going to be me. If you want to do something with me, it's going to be more in a passive role where you're not learning the business, you're not actually doing it. You're just giving the money to me, and I can do it on your behalf. That's even more passive, even more, hands off. But that's what I cater to.
Oh, that's neat because now I'm thinking like Grant Cardone, like how he has like the 10X classes
Yeah.
and like how to do the real estate investing. And I'm like, it's above what I can even think of on how that stuff would work. I'm just saying because it's like that is not what I was made for. I was made to talk to people. I was made to do other things, not
Right.
that part of it. So that's why I'm like, I appreciate that part. And like you said, that you don't do the teaching part of it, but you do more of the management part, which you still need somebody to teach, but then also how to manage it once you've learned it.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
that's makes it a lot easier.
For sure. And even if you're going to do it totally hands off passive, you should at least learn something about it so that you understand the concept of it. So you know,
True.
kind of get a handle on it. But just know that there's kind of those two roads. You can do it a hands on and learn the business and do it yourself, or you can do it totally hands off and let somebody else do it for you.
No, I like that idea because I'm like, I like the idea of somebody else taking care of it. Because when it comes to money and all of that, I know we're not generally taught about money and how it works and how to make money work for us. We're generally just not taught that. We're
Right.
basically taught go to school, come out, go get a job,
Yeah.
take your money, pay your bills. We're not taught how to make money work for us. That's why I really appreciate this, especially with my audience, where they may want to be employees or not employees, but they're moving from being employees to entrepreneurs.
Right.
They're moving, on how to do things. So then this is another option for those that are listening of there's mortgage note investing. I never even heard of that. Like
Yeah.
we've heard of crypto, we've heard of the Bitcoin, we've heard of
Right.
these things.
Yeah.
But it's like, how does a person get involved with some of those things? And that's one of the things I appreciate too.
And it's really cool because if you think so, then we can get really deep into it, but I'll just say real simply, if you want to have somebody else do it for you, and again, whether that's me or somebody else, this is actually a really great investment for an IRA. So you can use your own IRA funds. If you have it with like Fidelity or Charles Schwab, you're probably going to have to transfer it to somebody who's going to let you self-direct it. But it's totally above board, 100% legal, everything else. You're allowed to do this. But you can choose to allocate where you want your IRA funds to be. And this is a great one. If you're making less than, I pay 8% to my investors. If you're making less than 8%, maybe it's something to consider.
Well, that's good to know. So then I know like one of the things I'm thinking about, like with Grant Cardone, like he always says that you don't have to have money down to go purchase properties. You're able to do that type of stuff. And I'm like, is this kind of like the same thing? Or I'm just assuming, I guess, that you're familiar with Grant Cardone because
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
A little bit. Grant, I think he teaches more like how to do it, which again is very useful and it's really great if you want to do that. If you want to be the person that does it hands-on, great. And that's what I do. I love doing it. So yes, I'm 100% hands-on. Or you can do it something else where you just give the money to somebody who knows what they're doing. They do it for you. Get paid a return. That's it.
I like that because, like I said, I've always been curious. I'm like, would it actually work where you don't have to have money down and you're able to go do these things? Because it's like you never know who you can believe on certain things.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, and that's one of the things I'm like that. I think this is neat though because it's another option for money to be made. So then, in this, how would you manage like the risk in the note investing? Because I'm assuming, like all things, there's going to be risks. And what precautions should investors take in doing this?
Yeah. So anytime that I'm looking at one of these notes that I'm looking to buy, there's a whole list of things we're looking for. I think probably for this conversation, one of the most important things you're looking for is you want equity. So let's say the value of the property is, call it 200,000. The balance of the loan is 150,000. I'm still going to, even though the balance of that loan is 150, I'm still going to buy that at a discount. And that there's other factors that go into that, like where is it located, what's the interest rate, time left on the loan, those kinds of things still play in. But I'm not even going to pay the 150. So I'm actually going to pay something less than that, 110, 120, 130, I don't know. But then I've also created even more equity. So going way back, 2008 to 10, where house prices dropped, that's exactly what we're protecting against. So we want to make sure that if something happens, if there's some kind of weird correction in the market again, we've got lots and lots of room in there where it would have to be a series of things. So house prices drop, person in the house stops paying. I go through the whole process of taking back that house. I still then have room to do all of that and still have room to resell the house for more than what I paid for it in the beginning. So, which, like I say, there's lots of steps in there. So we're multiple layers of protection anywhere we can just to make sure we're okay.
No, and that's what I was thinking about too, because I'm like, you're looking at a loan of like 200,000. There's 150,000 left on it. So there's like $50,000 gap between the two.
Yeah.
But then you've got like the 110 that you'd mentioned. So then I'm like, well, that's a $90,000 gap between.
Right.
So then is that all the interest then?
So that's the equity portion. So that means like if I end up taking back the property, my investment was whatever I paid for it, 110, 120, 130, whatever it was. And then there's that gap there. So that's my protection. So the value of the property could go from 200 down to 150 and I'm still fine because I bought it at a lower price still. So I can take it back, resell it. We're still able to recoup our initial investment. And again, just to make sure we're well protected.
Is that similar like when they flip houses or no?
Flipping houses is a little bit different. I used to do that and it's actually a lot of fun, but in that case, I'm actually trying to buy it for the lowest amount that I can. I put whatever repairs in and then the market value is going to be something greater. So it's similar to that. And I want to make sure there's a big gap in there, and the bigger the gap, the more money I make.
Oh, I didn't know how that worked. That's why I'm asking so many questions.
Yeah, no, that's great.
More than what you typically get, I'm sure, on some of this too, because like I said, it is fascinating, like how it does work, how money can be made doing this. But
Right.
Like I said, I've never heard of it. So that's why I'm like, I think all of us I think most of us are used to how there's like the crypto, the Bitcoin, the gold, the
Yeah.
silver, like that type of investing. But as far as this type,
Yeah.
this is completely different. And,
Yes.
and then where you're not like even the real estate, like I said, the flipping I've heard of. That's why I'm like, I knew
Yeah.
what that was, but this is different. I think this is a lot less work that I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it. Like,
It's really funny because a few years back, I was thinking about like, so how long has this been around and like how long, what's the life cycle of this kind of business and whatever. And then it was a couple of different things. I remember watching a movie with my wife and it was set in like the 1800s or maybe even 1700s in England. And there was a scene there where this guy had bought this lady's debts and he was like waving around, now I own your debts and now you owe me. And I was like, that's what I do. It was just like a light bulb moment. I'm like, okay, it's been around at least that long. So I kind of just kept my eyes and ears open. And I mean, you can find verses in the Bible that talk about, somebody paying for your debt. And I'm like, so really this business has been around pretty much forever. And which is really weird. Then how come nobody's really heard of it? And I don't really know the answer, but I just find that interesting. It's been around forever. So the life cycle, like the lifespan of this business, really, I don't think there's an end to it. We're always going to be trading debt for money at some point. Somebody's going to own your debt somewhere. So might as well be me.
well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Because, yeah, there is quite a few Bible verses about that. But then people also get upset. It's like, well, you're a slave to the lender because you got to keep giving them money. That's in the Bible
Yeah.
too. But it's like,
Right.
well, you took on the debt. It's got to go somewhere. But I
See, and
know
that
it's quite a bit anyway.
for sure. And where I think we stick out, me and among other known investors, not just me, but generally speaking, because I'm a human being, I'm far more easy to work with than a bank.
Oh, yeah.
So if there's some issue or something, you're having a conversation with the person who relates to you as a person, not a bank that has the list of rules that they have to follow and all the rest. Not that I can just do willy-nilly and we can shoot from the hip or anything, but again, you're dealing with a person. And so I almost never foreclose on a person. I'm always foreclosing on an empty house. And it's really rare that we end up having to do a foreclosure on a person. So I love that.
No, and I like that idea too, because like you said, the banks, they're so. I heard something the other day from the Monopoly game. Somebody posted a meme, and I'm like, thank you for ruining my entire issue I already had with Monopoly. Because one of the Monopoly is the bank can never go bankrupt. So then that got me thinking, and I was like, oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that I'm thinking too, that could be a possibility in this. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't have somebody helping you, would that be a problem then too, or no? Does that not exist? Like banks can't go bankrupt.
They actually can, which is kind of the scary thing. So that's, go back in time, 2008 and 9 and all that. That's what was happening. It was all these banks were going under, and then all of a sudden everything went really crazy because these banks all went kaput, and then now they had to sell their stuff really cheap to somebody else, and takeovers here, there, and everywhere. So it actually can happen, and it does happen. Obviously, we try not to have it happen, and we have to keep faith in the whole system. But yeah, it can happen, and that's where somebody like me can step in. And I think in so many ways, especially with the mortgages, I'm much better at dealing with the people than the banks are.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd rather deal with the person than a bank.
Definitely.
I'm just saying any day, because banks, all their policies and all this, and it's like,
yeah, exactly.
They don't necessarily understand everything either.
Right.
So, and I know that you said that you run the Diversified Mortgage Expo. Can you tell more?
Yes.
Can you tell me more about this event and why it's such a valuable resource for those in the note investing space?
Yeah, so we took this over 3 years ago. This past year, we just ran it for a third time. When I was approached by the old owner of the conference, they said, is this something you'd be interested in? My immediate answer was yes, because in my mind, it is all about the networking. It is so much about building relationships and just, coming together with anybody else who's in this business, because that's how it's done. It's like I say, it's a pretty niche business, so you're not going to find it on MLS or something like that. It doesn't really exist. So it's totally about relationships. So that's what we're trying to establish with this. Like the night before we do our conference, we do an axe throwing tournament. Everyone can come together and throw axes, and we just have a blast, because if we can get to know each other and like each other, then we can start building that trust, and we can start doing some deals together. So it's a non like pitching type of a conference. Like sometimes you can go to a conference and they tell you, make sure you run to the back of the room to sign up for this special program. We don't do any of that. That's not allowed. If you've got something to sell, that's great. You can talk about it with somebody one-on-one later, but you're never going to hear from the stage, sign up today, conference special only, blah, blah, blah. Like we just don't do that. So it's just about education, coming together and meeting each other and getting some deals done, hopefully.
I like that. So what kind of people do you look for attending this Diversified Mortgage Expo?
It's really interesting. It's a good combination. We do kind of an informal survey at the beginning, say, who's brand new, who's done a few deals, who's super experienced. And it's a pretty even split. So it's all the way from the people that have been doing this for years and years, and they've got millions of dollars in their portfolio, all the way down to the person that just heard about it last week and they just want to come and check it out. And it's really almost evenly split between all the different groups. And I find that fascinating and so great. From my beginnings in this business, I've always been impressed at how open note investors are. And like anybody will talk to anybody. There's really not a feeling of like, oh, you're brand new, come talk to me later. You know what I mean? Like it's very much an inclusive kind of a community. So I really like that too, where just everybody comes and hangs out together. If you're brand new and you just want to learn more about it, awesome. If you're somebody that has been doing this forever and you're just coming to meet new people and to see if there's more deals out there, great. That's a great place for you to be too.
I like that, because I'm thinking, like for referrals for you, as far as the people that I know too at the same time on that, because I'm like, are you looking like for the real estate agents? Are you looking for people that might have a service that works really well with real estate? Because there's so many different services that work well within the real estate industries that I'm like, well, even like the network marketing companies work great with real estate agents, because they typically give gifts to the new people that they just got house. So I'm just like thinking of those type of things for this expo. Is that what type of people that you want there as well? Just in case my audience is like, well, is this something that I could attend and actually help other people within this networking? Because it is about relationships, 100%.
For sure. Usually, most people that get into note investing typically come from some kind of real estate background. They've done something in real estate before. Not necessarily, but that's typically how that goes. But yeah, we've got realtors that come. We've got attorneys that come. We've got servicing companies, people that collect the payments for you, people that'll teach you the business, insurance. The list goes on and on. Anything else, everything that touches either lending or real estate. That's typically who we get there.
That's good to know. I got quite a few contacts on that one.
Great.
I like to refer people to other people. So that's why I'm like, that's one of the things that I'm like, I like doing. It's
perfect.
Me, I'm like, I don't believe in just, I'm going to hold on to it and hoard everything that I know. No, I'm like, why can't we collaborate? Why not work together on this?
Yeah.
That was the main purpose of bringing back the podcast. At least for me, it was. It's like, that was one of my things that I'm like, I want to genuinely help other people succeed.
Definitely.
That's why I'm like, I just had to ask that, because I'm like, I know so many people, but then at the same time in this expo, now the other question I'm thinking of is, are they being held all over, or are they just certain areas? Like, because you said this was the third year that you've ran it.
Yeah.
That you took over.
Right. Yeah, we changed it up when we took it. So we do it in one location. We do it in Nashville, Tennessee. We do it the first weekend in May, so that you can put it on your calendar. You know when it's happening. You know where it's happening. And then just plan to come and attend.
That's awesome. So is it like a 1-day event, or like a 2 to 3 day event, or how does that work? Because you also mentioned the axe throwing.
Yeah, two plus the axe throwing. So like kind of 2.5. Yeah.
That's awesome. I just think that's neat. So before we close our show today, what's the best way for our audience to get in contact with you?
Best way would be to go to my website, ernestinvesting.com. And there's more information about note investing there. There's a link over to the conference if you want to check that one out. And then there's the contact me section on there as well. So throw it in there. And whether you want to talk about this, whether you want to talk about anything, just give me a call. I'm happy to chat with you.
Awesome. So I want to remind everybody to please be sure to share Healing for the Soul podcast with everyone you know. And I encourage you to follow me, Robin Stoltman, on social media, and my guest, Nathan Turner, as well. What's your socials that you would like people to contact you? Or is it strictly the website?
Websites, like I say, as far as contacting me, that's probably the easiest. But yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook. That's pretty much it. Whether it's me or my company, I'm more active on my personal stuff as well. But yeah, Facebook or LinkedIn.
Awesome. So I want to thank you and our audience as well as your time and energy for listening to today's episode of Healing for the Soul podcast.
That's all for now, folks. Thanks for listening to Diversify. Help that fall bucket destroy. Quack, quack. Bye-bye. Well, next time. Now you got it.